Hello there, guys. It's Stephen here on BlueMoonRisingTV. I've been joined by these two lovely people, Alex and Paul. Look at their happy faces after Yaya Toure grabbed us 3 points at the weekend against Crystal Palace. And now the good stuff here is the Champions League is back. How are you guys? You all right? You feeling good?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Good to see you. Good to be back.
Yeah, it's always good to play on a Wednesday night and not on Thursdays because we're not
Effing shite.
That's it. You all know the song. No, it's good. This is what we live for, innit? I'll set it up for you, Stephen. You knocked it out the park.
Paul is the David Silva of BlueMoonRisingTV, and I am Kelechi Iheanacho. What's Alex?
Yeah.
Fabian Delph.
It's a bit harsh.
I'm not joking, mate. You're my Kevin De Bruyne. Right, guys, it's a big game, as big as Alex and Paul. We could go through if we win this. we could go through if we win this. We could be in the Champions League last 16. Obviously, Monchengladbach aren't in great form, but how tricky a game is this going to be, in your opinion, Alex?
It's going to be hard, I think. I think any German team have got the capacity to do some damage, especially at home, and they're always difficult away days. That said, we've had a little chat about the form before we recorded the video. I mean, they are 12 points from 11 games. They're struggling. They're getting turned over by teams that maybe don't have, the same stature that they're on. I think they're in a little bit. I think crisis is a strong word, but they aren't at the peak of their history. I think they're maybe a little bit more apprehensive about playing us as we are of them. That said, clubs that are fifth from the bottom and are having difficult home form are exactly the sort of teams to take a point off us. So maybe we should be a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, I mean, the 13th out of 18th, Paul, at the moment, it's not great form. But traditionally, we haven't mastered the Champions League yet, and we did struggle last year away at Monchengladbach. I'm sure Pep will be treating this with a little bit of apprehension as well, because he knows what teams like Monchengladbach can do, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I think, especially having played it. Sorry, Paul, I just completely cut you off.
I'm sure you said my name during that. But anyway, go on, Alex.
Well, like I said, I'm Kevin De Bruyne, you're David Silva. All the play goes through me now. It's fine. Your days are gone, Paul.
No, you're dealt through. Carry on.
No, I was just going. No, I'll let you go, Paul. But I was just saying that that's what it represents. Is that it's the very different improvement between Pellegrini and Guardiola. The same challenge last year. We struggled. Hopefully this year we can cruise to victory. And over to you, Paul.
Thanks, mate.
1 second. I really love the idea that I've called you David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, and you both occupying the same space there.
Attacking mid.
Is that the problem? Is that the problem right there? But David Silva, carry on.
Yeah, we'll fight for it. But yeah, you can just sneak in as Yaya Toure and snatch a couple of goals as well. But no, it's going to be difficult, isn't it? I think I'm not one of these people who subscribe necessarily to the idea that it doesn't matter what their form's like. You can play any team at this point in the Champions League and anyone's going to put up a game. There's an element of that. But ultimately, you want to be playing against teams that aren't performing to the best of their ability. And we're certainly in a better place than they are, both in the league and in the Champions League. So, it's for a reason. Saying that, we did only manage to draw against Celtic. They put up a good game, but we all know what it's like going to Celtic Park. And we did get a big victory against Barcelona. So we've had our ups and downs in the league as well. So it's not it is a big game. We've got to go there and win. And if we win, we go through to the next stage of the Champions League, which is massive. So hopefully that'll be enough to motivate us. And Pep's obviously got unfinished business in the last few years in the Champions League. So he's going to be well up for it.
Here's a thought. And after the Barcelona game, I know we did obviously have a slip up against Celtic, but we were impressive against Monchengladbach in the home game. Does the Champions League feel different this year to us? Does it feel like we are maybe slowly getting to grips with this competition? And Pep, I know we got to semi-finals last year, but it did feel a little bit at times that we were blagging it a bit, if I'm being totally honest, and we didn't really do ourselves justice despite getting to the semi-finals. Does it feel different this year to you, Alex, or is it just a case of that we're doing getting through these games in the way we should be?
Well, actually, I think that. Oh, sorry, go.
Just waiting for that. It feels like this year, though, it's a coming of age. It feels this year. I think in the past, maybe it feels like with the group stage, we've been sort of getting away with it, and we've maybe felt like the underdogs. And whether that's right or not, we've had some very, very tough groups. I remember the year that we came up against the champions of Holland, Spain, and Germany all in the same group, and it felt like, hang on a minute,
And we were the champions as well.
And maybe I think this year, I think with the objective of Manchester City is to get to that elite group of teams, that 5, 6, 7, 8 teams that just seem to cruise through the group stages and always make it to the quarterfinals. And I think this year we look like doing that. And maybe last year it felt like a little bit of fortune, a little bit of success, and other teams tripping up against us, and we got to a semi-final. And I'm not belittling that, but it feels like this year people are sort of expecting that from us. And I think that coming up in a group against Barcelona, I think coming second is forgivable. But I think now the expectation is, let's say we got through in 5, and let's take Celtic at home and not have to worry too much about having to get a result against a team like Celtic that we already know can cause a few problems. So, yeah, I think the objective this year is not just to get through, but it's to cruise through.
I think beating Barcelona, we know how much of a mental hurdle that was for us as a team, wasn't it? It felt like, are we ever going to beat this team? Can we ever do it? And
battered them, Paul.
Say that again.
We battered them.
We did, yeah. We did it with aplomb, didn't we? And that's a great word as well, if you don't mind me saying so. And we really did. We took it to them, and we didn't roll over. And even when we got on paper hammered at their place, we even played pretty well there. It was just we got a ridiculous red card, and then slips and slides and all the rest of it. And we all know that was another story. But yeah, it does feel like a different Manchester City in Europe this season. And I remember when I keep thinking about this when we went to Real Madrid and we in the semi-final, and we just kind of rolled over. And the guys from Real Galacticos there said, you look at Pellegrini's team and you don't know what he's told his players. You don't know how they've been told to set up. But now you just feel as though Guardiola's going with a game plan. And that, that's the minimum really you should expect. But it feels like actually it's the first time we go into these big games with a real sensible idea of how to take apart teams on the biggest of stages.
Before we go on to you kind of touched on the point there anyway. We may also get onto the actual game plan. Before we go on to pick the team, I just want to know generally what you two guys think the formation we're going to play in, because that's obviously going to dictate how we're going to line up this team. Alex?
It's very difficult to predict with Guardiola, and I think but I think we're going to see 6 midfielders. I think he's going to see him try to push us out. So I think you could be even looking at the sort of 4-2-3-1, but seeing people pushing up and that kind of stuff and all going on. My guess is because everyone else is. I think I'd say, I expect 4-2-3-1.
I wouldn't be surprised to see 4-1-4-1. With one holding pivot in Fernandinho and then maybe Gundogan playing ahead of him. But, we've said it again and again, these are fluid formations, aren't they? And they kind of, when a player like Gundogan knows how to drop deep when necessary, that's how he's played in his breakthrough years over in Germany. So he knows how to do that. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that and see us go for it, really.
I think I would probably go along with the thought about things well in general. Then the midfield after that is kind of an open forum suggestion. But let's go onto the pick the team then. So I'm going to guess, I think we'd all agree, it's going to be Claudio Bravo on goal, isn't it?
Yeah, he served his ban now, hasn't he? It was a one-match ban. And now he's back in contention. So Willy Caballero, I've got to give a little shout out to him for that game against Barcelona. He was ace. He did everything he needed to do. He just seemed composed.
Obviously, it's going to be Bravo and goal. Willie did himself proud, but it's the obvious choice, and Pep's going to choose his number one there. At right back, I'm personally leaning towards, I think it might be Sanya, because he only got like a bit of a game there before Zabba came on. Thoughts on that, Alex?
Yeah, I think it's a real possibility. I think it'll be interesting to see who does get the nods. I think it's Sanya. Maybe do you want a little bit more composure, a little bit more discipline, and someone who maybe is more than capable. And I guess he's probably after a little bit of an injury spell out, probably raring to go and get some more Champions League football under his belt and show that he is still a big part of this team. With Zabaleta, I think you get a lot of passion, you get a lot of enthusiasm. And whilst in the Barcelona game looked class and looked perfectly able, I think maybe for a tough German away day, I think if it were me, I'd quite like to see Bakary Sanya if it was me in charge.
Paul doesn't agree by the looks of it.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I was just thinking about Zabaleta, just like, he does have a great game in him. And then every now and again, though, you'll see his age catch up to him as well. I think against the Monchengladbach, Zabba could do a job, but Sanya, he's Mr. Dependable, isn't he? And I'm glad to see him back in the team. And another shout out for Maffeo. I think he could do a job, but he's not going to put him in yet, is he?
I would love to see Maffeo start. I think he'd actually be excellent as well. I think he'd really suit this game. I know it's not happening, but I genuinely think he'd suit this game.
Maybe if the final game doesn't mean anything in the Champions League.
He'll start against Celtic, I reckon, if it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, then on to the centre-backs. Stones is obviously going to come back in. I think that's probably a given, isn't it? Seeing as he didn't play at the weekend. Who would you put alongside him, Alex?
I'd like to see Otamendi. I think obviously Company going off against Crystal Palace lends itself to an Otamendi. You could potentially see Kolarov being moved into the middle, but I think Kolarov and Stones in the middle, I think that may be a little bit too much even for Guardiola. So I'm going to say Stones Otamendi.
I'm down with that. Yeah, I think there's a question here. Some people are asking about what does Guardiola value the most? Was he resting players at the weekend? I think he was. I'm sure he takes the league very seriously, but I think playing, Yaya Toure showed that he was maybe resting a player. Playing Company and Otamendi at centre back, I think that showed him he was resting. He obviously sees John Stones as his number one defender, so I think he's going to play his strongest team possible, and I think that's John Stones and Otamendi at the minute.
I'd probably agree with that. Then it's Kolarov or Clichy. That's Hobson's choice, really. Paul, who are you going for at the moment?
I think it's if he was resting players, then Clichy. But I think if it was just from scratch, I think he'd go for Kolarov, and I think I'm probably edging Kolarov actually.
I mean, I'm a Gael Clichy fanboy. I know everybody else in the world seems to have turned against him this season, but I do agree with you. I think Kolarov is Guardiola's preferred man, and I will be surprised to see Clichy on Wednesday night. I think Kolarov will start.
I think none of us either can really see past. I think Fernandinho's going to start somewhere, isn't he? He's obviously going to start somewhere. I think the same as David Silva. I think he's going to start somewhere. He just will do. And Gundogan, he didn't play as well. So these three seem like... I mean, there's any disagreements there? Surely they're going to be starters, aren't they?
No, they are. It's just a question of where they all fit in, whether you play De Bruyne out on the left or play him in his preferred position in the middle. How do you fit them all in? Where do you guys see it? How do you see it working? I reckon it's Fernandinho at the back. It could be Gundogan next to him, but Gundogan's definitely getting there. Maybe I don't know if he's ahead of him though. And then you've got De Bruyne as a sort of 3-8 sort of player. Well, how do you guys see that?
For me, I think it will be Fernandinho. I think the 4-1-4-1 thing could work potentially. So you've got like a very loose four ahead of the Fernandinho. So you've got the likes of Gundogan, Silva, De Bruyne, and then it could be. I think it might be Sterling. I wouldn't be surprised to see Navas. Weirdly, I think away when against the German team, I wouldn't be surprised to see him there. But it's basically, I think it's going to be the big four going to be in there, and then it's going to be our winger. I don't know where they'll line up, but I think it could be Navas. It might be Sterling, because Sterling's good at a European away. Alex, your thoughts?
I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think Fernandinho and Gundogan have to feature, and I'd like to see them dictate the play and let Gundogan sort of roam forward in his Lampard-esque way, where he kind of just sort of wanders closer, almost to a 10 role. I would be amazed not to see De Bruyne, and I think De Bruyne is lethal in his central role with his experienced German football. David Silva not playing on the weekend lends itself to Silva. I think we've seen Silva a couple of times shipped out onto the left-hand side. Now, everybody talks about David Silva not being at his best on the left-hand side. You have to remember, that is where he played in Spanish football when we signed him from La Liga. And I agree. I think number 10, David Silva, on his day, can run the entire show. But I think Kevin De Bruyne at his peak maybe peaks David Silva at his best. And I think maybe David Silva at left can still be influential in the game. On the right-hand side, I think that's where it gets interesting. I think, do you see Raheem Sterling, whose pace can really do some damage, but did play on the weekend? I wouldn't be against Leroy Sané. I think is someone who is young, has experienced German football, has got all the pace in the world, and maybe will want a point to prove, and maybe has got more than enough motivation to go back to Germany. I've seen a lot of the German press. I don't speak German. I don't read a lot of German newspapers. But from what I've seen shipping around on Twitter is that Sané has been getting a little bit of a stick of people saying that he's warming the bench at Manchester City in a similar way that Sterling got from Liverpool fans and the same way that Delph got from Villa fans. So Sané will want to go to Germany when all the German TV and all the German press are watching and maybe show that he is a big part of Manchester City and it wasn't a mistake coming to England. So I think he's someone who I would like to see, and I think has got a point to prove it and is more than capable of influencing the game. But someone like Nolito as well has got it in the bank. We're so lucky that we've got so many wide players who I think would walk into a Monchengladbach side and I think could definitely do damage in a Champions League game. So it seems,
Paul, Alex has no idea who's going to be able to play.
I was going to say, he's gone through every player, giving a great argument for all of them. But sitting on a splintery fence there. I think is... Do you know, until you said Leroy Sané, I hadn't really thought about him and the experience he's got in Germany. It's a good idea, but I think maybe he'll come on, and I'll go for Sterling as well. But again, Navas has been used in the Champions League by Guardiola, hasn't he, as well?
Pep actually did a reference to Sané. I think he said he just thinks he needs more time to adapt to how we play. That's what he said. He said he bought him for 5-6 years, not for 3 or 4 months. The whole, he's not just a Christmas Leroy Sané or a summer transfer window. He's also for life. So he said basically it's a long-term
Leroy
project.
Sané is dying in hot cars.
Yeah. That's such a niche mid-2000s indie pop band reference there. If anyone gets that, I will...
It's not an indie pop band, it's a car sticker more than anything, you uso.
No, it's Dogs Die in Hot Cars, band from Glasgow. Anyway, art pop punk. But anyway, guys, I think it's going to be Sterling as well. I think it will be. It won't be a Glaswegian art pop house band. It'll be Raheem Sterling. I think he'll go for him. Then obviously Sergio Aguero up front. Anyone disagreeing there?
No, I mean I'm looking forward to seeing Kelechi get some more game time over the course of the season, as we all are. But yeah, now's not the time. It's Sergio Aguero time, isn't it?
It's Sergio Aguero time, not Kelechi time. Anyway, guys, predictions before we go. Alex?
I'm going to go 2-1 City. I think Monchengladbach will make it really difficult for us, but I think we should, hopefully, nice and routine, overcome them.
I'll go for 2-0 City. And that sees us through to the next stage of the Champions League. And it's worth us talking about next time we do a video, the potential matchups that we can get. Because if you look at the Champions League groups, a lot of teams that are sat in first place at the minute, City could very easily win over the course of 2 legs. Or we could beat them all, but no, there are some very tasty. If we avoid, obviously, the Real Madrids and the Bayerns, there's some very interesting names up there as well, but that's for another video.
As indeed for another video. I'm going to go for... I'm going to be negative, actually, and go for 1-0. I'm normally quite optimistic, but I just feel like Gladbach will have a point to prove, and I think they'll really frustrate us.
Literally.
Yeah, quite a point to earn, even. Anyway, guys, that is our Champions League preview. What do you make of the selections? What do you make of, for some reason, Alex says Kevin De Bruyne, not Paul, and Paul as David Silva, for some reason. Anyway, guys, let us know your predictions, your scores, your teams, and so on. Get liking the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and we will all see you soon.